Hi, my name is Marcus Kennedy and I'm a first year social work student at VU. What brought me to social work are a number of life experiences which I'll briefly discuss. I currently care for a parent with mental health issues and I myself was diagnosed with clinical depression and generalised anxiety disorder a couple of years ago. It was my time in hospital that I was introduced to a social worker, which for me was a light bulb moment, meaning I might like to pursue social work as a career. I was impressed by the empathy shown during this challenging time and the practical measures taken to get me back to work, training martial arts and functioning like I was before I became unwell. During this time, I saw the social worker find affordable housing for people who were unemployed, who had drug dependencies and couldn't afford rent in that moment in time. Living with and observing my sister care for people as a nurse for 10 years and as a paramedic showed me helping people, while can be challenging, is a rewarding career choice. I'll briefly discuss my knowledge of social work. While my studies of social work is fairly limited, having recently begun, I recognise the role that social workers play in being mediators for hopefully positive societal change for the individual, family and overall general community. I understand there have inadvertently been cases where social workers have negatively affected lives despite their good intentions. An example being the courts in the past removing children from their families because of marital issues like abuse and drug dependence. Comparing this with today, where there is more knowledge of the short and long-term effects on the separation of families. I think the emphasis is more on family unity and working through the systemic socio-economic, environmental and biological issues. I am aware social work, historically speaking, is a relatively new domain of practice compared with other more established therapies like psychology, for example. So hopefully with time, the complex social issues that are managed more holistically. A strength I think I possess is being a good listener, which I think is transferable into social work. I believe that a big part of the healing process is listening to those affected by domestic violence, mental health issues, drug dependence, and people who are marginalised. For the past decade, I have worked for Coles in a customer service role and security before that, and being a good sounding board, I believe, gives the customer a sense of well-being. I think by actively listening, remaining objective and showing empathy, even if I don't necessarily agree with the customers, families and friends' viewpoint, is a skill that is directly transferable to the role of a social worker. A second strength I believe I possess is having gone through my own mental health struggles and caring for my mum both as a child and an adult, and I can relate to people going through similar situations in their life. Coming through the other side of depression is possible, and I think there is strength in that, and hopefully I can use it to help others, particularly children who often feel helpless when their parents are unwell. The two domains of practice I see myself working in at this early stage of social work are in community centres working with families and education programs teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I am mindful my interested field within the domains may change. However, while I currently feel more comfortable speaking with individuals as opposed to group situations, throughout my time at uni I would like to step outside of my comfort zone and work both with individuals and families. The reason being, I think social work, generally speaking, work for the collective group and actively listening to all parties involved will give me a broader outlook and understanding of different points of view. I have been involved in martial arts for the past 10 years and currently hold my brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Martial arts changed my life. It gave me a purpose, sense of community, taught me the value of being humble, respecting my teachers, and the ability to defend myself in a physical confrontation. Overall, it makes me a calmer person and improved my overall mental health and fitness levels. I would like to teach other people who are interested the value of all the positive aspects of learning martial arts and using it in the right way, which is something I strive for when attending classes and applying it to my everyday life. For my own mental well-being, I need a work-life balance, so working a 36-hour week in my chosen domain appeals to me even if it means for a lower pay. For me, having a fulfilling life and staying mentally well is having the work-life balance right. So when I do hopefully become a social worker in my chosen domain of practice, whether it be with individuals or families in a community centre, I balance my passions outside of work. i.e. training, spending quality time with family and friends, reading books and eating healthily.